This is the Tala Mole Moe podcast show, Oceania mythology and history told as bedtime stories. Season 1, Episode 2, The Shark and the Turtle. And I am your host, Miyamoto Loretta Jensen. Good evening, everyone, and welcome one and all to my show. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I know that this environment that we are carving out together is meant to be a calm and relaxing space, but I seriously hope you can feel the joy and excitement in my voice when I say how thankful I am for each and every one of you. I honestly wasn't sure if anybody would even listen to my first episode about the creation of Samoa. I was nervous to launch the episode. Heck, I was even nervous to even share the show with anyone, but your love, your encouragement, and your support has made it very easy for me to carry on. So thank you. And if you're a first time listener, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming. And if you're returning, even more so. I'm so glad that you're here. From the very bottom of my heart, I thank you all. And I'm so excited to talk about tonight's story, this beautiful legend that is very popular. And I'm sure some of you, or maybe most of you, have heard of this story or heard your own versions of it throughout your lives. And again, this story, this beautiful legend, comes from the sands of Samoa. Have you heard of the legend before about the shark and the turtle? I know I have. And that's part of the reason why I'm sharing it here tonight. When I was a little girl, I remember fondly that my dad would tell me and my sisters this story to help us sleep well at night. And I remember the impact that it left on me, and I'm hoping that you can have that same experience with me tonight. From the imagery to the style of the legend to the magic behind it, there's so much available for each and every one of us. But I hope, most importantly, from every story that I share, and not just this one, but every story, that you walk away learning something valuable and new, and that you can apply those lessons to your lives. So tonight, I welcome you back to the islands of Samoa to hear this beautiful legend of the shark and the turtle. Before we dive into the story, I have to give a big shout out to my fellow patrons on Patreon who have made it possible for me to have this show. Every bit of support makes this episode, this show, the equipment, my energy levels, it makes it all possible. So I thank you so much, every patron, because you help to make the stories of our ancestors come to life. If you are interested in joining the Patreon family, please feel free to sign up at patreon.com/the Polynesian Genealogist. Again, thank you to my patrons. I love you all very, very much. Okay, it's story time. So now I want you to get comfortable wherever you are. Find your softest blanket and cuddle in it. Put on your favorite socks. Light your favorite candle. Get a warm cup of tea or hot chocolate and snuggle by the heater, or if you're bougie, by your fireplace. Anywhere that you feel comfortable and safe and content, I invite you to get into such a space. And if you need to, you can pause the show to make that possible for you. Now, once you are comfortable, I want you to slowly close your eyes when I count to 3. 1, 2, and 3. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose for 5 counts and out of your mouth for 8. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, slowly breathe out through your nose for 8 counts. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we'll do this one more time. Breathe in for 5 counts and breathe out for 8. Breathe in. Ready, begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now breathe out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you. And I now invite you to please keep your eyes closed if you can. I want your mind to drift away with me now to where I am at. The sun is slowly setting over the horizon, and you see soft, billowy clouds cuddling the light of the sun far into the distance. The crystal clear ocean is right in front of you, gently rolling onto the shore as you stand on the warm sands of the beach of Samoa. You can smell the saltiness of the water as the winds bring a slight breeze to your face. After basking in the warmth of the sun for a few moments, you gently sit down on the sand and listen to the story that the ocean, or the moana, is waiting for you to hear. Once upon a time, in the islands of Samoa, there lived a blind grandmother named Manuia. Her granddaughter, whose name was Salofa, lived with her and helped to take care of her. And they lived together on the island of Savaii, which is now part of present-day Western Samoa. Unfortunately, in their village, Manuia and Salofa were outcasts because the grandmother was blind. No one was kind to them. In fact, most of the time, as the two would try to perform their daily chores or walk around the village together, many would laugh or stare at them and point their fingers. This kind of ridicule was heartbreaking for the both of them. They would both ask, how could these people be so cruel to us? What have we done? Then, one night, Salofa said to her granddaughter, let's leave. We can leave this village and find a new home for ourselves, where we are loved and respected. And as any dutiful granddaughter would, Salofa listened to her grandmother. So, when the moon was high in the sky and the heavens were clear, both grandma and granddaughter pushed a canoe onto the beach with no one around. Then they successfully pushed themselves off the sand into the ocean, and there they began to paddle to their new home. The sky first looked clear, and then suddenly a terrible storm came out of nowhere, with waves the size of mountains crashing down on Manuia, Salofa, and their canoe. All of a sudden, one giant wave swallowed them whole. Their grandmother was too old and frail to know how to swim on her own, and the granddaughter was too young to know how to swim for herself. So, as they were both drowning together, the gods looked down from the heavens and took pity on them. With their powers, the gods transformed Grandma Salofa into a majestic sea turtle, and Salofa into a fearsome shark. After their transformations, the shark and the turtle swam away together, never to be separated from one another, always protecting each other forever and ever. This legend of the shark and the turtle is one of Samoa's most popular oral legends. There are so many variations of the story, from the main characters being a grandma and her daughter, to a husband and a wife, to what I just shared, the story of a grandma and her granddaughter. But consistently throughout every legend is told the song of the shark and the turtle, where if you were to sing this song today on the shores of where this legend is most popular in Waitangi village, a shark and a turtle will appear together to hear you sing the song that they so loved and remembered. But remember, please don't point at the shark and the turtle, because they will remember what it was like to be pointed at, laughed at, and ridiculed when they were both humans. This song is there to welcome them and to welcome you into their presence. If you make the mistake of pointing at them, they will swim away and never come back again, even if you sing their song. So what's so special and significant about this story? What I love about stories are the lessons to be learned from each and every one of them. And I hope that throughout this development of the show, I can share some of the lessons that I see as important and valuable for all of us to learn. But I also hope too that you can take the time to think for yourselves what lessons that your ancestors would like you to learn. So, lesson number 1 is probably the most obvious one to me. When I first heard this story as a child, I thought to myself, how can one be so mean to another? So, I hope that through this example of people being mean to each other, that we take the time to rededicate ourselves every day to be kind to each other. In true Samoan culture, we are taught to be generous, giving, and charitable to each other, not just to our own, but to anyone that we come across. I see that consistent in Samoa and outside of Samoa, and I hope that us as Samoans, Oceanians, and as a human family, we can carry on this tradition no matter who we are or where we come from. Not only be kind to others, but be kind to yourself. Kindness can save a life, and I hope that kindness will save yours as well. And the last lesson that was resonating with me very strongly as I prepared this episode was the power of connection and bonds that we can have with one another. Nothing could take away the love between this grandmother and her granddaughter. No people, land, or sea could keep them from staying connected to each other. And I love that lesson so much. This past year has been pretty traumatic for me as an individual and in my family, because I had to say goodbye to a number of people who I wasn't ready to part with. But I know that as I think of my new ancestors, as I sing their songs, as I share their stories, as I talk about their lives, and I share their gifts that they've given to me and try my best to pass it down to my son, those ancestors are summoned to me as I call out to them every single time. If you are missing anyone in your life, know that they are not far away. Just like the shark and the turtle, they are just one song away from you. May your dreams be filled with the songs of your heart and of your ancestors, and may they come to you and be in your presence forever. Manuia lepo.